And my son.
They don't count.
Jody's like, they're waiting for you. I was like, okay.
You were live.
All right.
Live.
Okay, welcome to Land Use and Planning Standing Committee, Tuesday, August 26th, and it is 10:30 a.m. and Patty is right on time, despite what the mayor has to say. So agenda, we'll review the August, because I have a typo of August versus August. So meeting minutes, August 12th, look fabulous, thank you,
Yes,
Patty.
Patty, thank you.
I will make a motion to.
I will second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes, fabulous. Motion to reconsider Resolution 3711, approve the downtown master plan. I will let Dave introduce this, though I have a little bit of insight as well, so.
All right, so, we had been working with the downtown master plan folks, and, they, were gonna get us feedback, which they got to us promptly the day after we passed it.
Lovely.
So if we do that, if amendments for that's part of the other conversation that went into that. So in the packet, there was also the stuff that had the edits from last time that was included. I had them include just a one-page summary that included all the changes. The stuff in the yellow is the stuff that did not come in front of council, but it came from the people who give us the money. And when she reached out, I asked, what is the effect if those edits are not, and I didn't say, because they're supposed to, according to the contract, they're supposed to sign off on and approve it before we pass it. So in that sense, we kind of goofed. But I said, what happens if we don't incorporate it? She says, we'll put a cover letter that said we made edits and you didn't go with them. I said, that doesn't sound like a very good answer. She said, it's really not. So because we passed it, we can do what's called a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
In fact, Chelsea, and I went ahead and the question about whether you have to put it on the agenda or not, but since I don't want there to be anything or feel like, I just try to keep from getting yelled at. It's basically just a motion to reconsider 3711. It gets seconded. What we'll do is we'll open it up, and then we'll say, this motion was passed, what do you feel? I feel we should amend, or I'd like to make a motion to amend it to include the edits that are represented in it.
Okay.
We have discussion on that, we vote on the motion to amend, and then we repass the original, so there'll be a main and a second on it. And the stuff that's in yellow is just the edits that they made, that they said they wanted to see edit, and they have been included in the copy that's online.
Cool.
Okay.
Fabulous. Does that make sense to everyone? So tonight, I will make a motion to reconsider.
Resolution 3711,
Awesome.
a resolution of the city of blah, blah.
Great. Fabulous. Okay, next up.
And then we will submit all our our paperwork to get reimbursed for it.
Hooray for money.
It'll have to do.
I like that.
The one thing, so as you make the motions, when we make motion to amend, the adoption date, I highlighted it because it still says 12th. I think we ought to change that to
26.
26th. And that would be an edit today. Since we're reapproving this, I move that we change the edit to 126.
Cool. Can you just leave that there at my spot when you're done?
I can.
Cool.
Well, I can get it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, just, that way I'm not digging, and I know exactly what I'm supposed to say. Great.
So I get to type.
Don't make me think. Brain is not think. Okay, great.
Not
So
brain.
speaking of brain not
If
think,
you're doing the hard copy, so you're doing electric and you want a hard copy.
yes, please, that'll keep me separate.
Okay.
Okay. Is that everything for our motion to reconsider?
I think so, unless there's questions from you guys.
Excellent.
No.
All right, so process for designating changing use of city-owned land. Continuing our conversation. So last go around, we did come up with kind of a vision, whereas, credo, this is what we are looking for, since I had some fun with AI, and, which was great, honestly.
Right.
Like, I went through those. That's fantastic, and I think let's keep leaning on it. Like, all it's doing is taking information from other places. So, cool. Like, we don't have to take all of it, though. So, this is kind of our thought process when we are considering, so when considering the use of city-owned land, the city will determine the best and highest use by consistently evaluating each proposal to ensure that edits, that it meets current community needs, increases the quality of life for our residents, and has a sustainable, long-term plan to benefit the city and the community. Does that still feel good to everybody? Cool.
You say consistently or continually?
Consistently.
What's your definition?
I don't have a definition for both, except for, I don't really have a hard preference either, but I think consistently, the reasoning for that versus continually is we want to have a consistent process that we are using instead of just continuing to do a process. Because that's, I think, part of our issue, is that we continue to do all these things, but we don't necessarily do that consistently and make those decisions based off the same criteria. And so that's my definition.
That's a good definition. Good job.
So basically, you're doing the process the same way every time.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or at least looking at the same criteria to ensure that we always meet the highest and best use, and that all players involved are as happy as they can be. Specifically, city staff who will end up having to mow the lawns, we know that. Specifically, the neighbors next door that will have to deal with the noise. Specifically, the people that are using the space, as well as the community at large who might want to use the space too.
And then, as you go through this process, will there be a section to say that it would be reviewed
Yes.
to see if it's still
Mm-hmm.
the highest and best use?
Yep, that is, essentially the next part of our, process.
Did you send us to us?
What was that?
Did you send us to us?
I didn't, I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't mind reading, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Did we start a Google Doc on this? I don't think we did we?
No, but if you.
There was something I got this week that was a Google Doc that I didn't have rights to, just as an FYI.
Deal with
That's
it.
something we have to be careful of.
From me.
What, not getting rights to it?
Well, yeah, it was somebody, I don't know if
Was
it
it
was
me?
you sent it out, or if it was
Just
Sandy.
bug me, sorry.
Somebody sent one out, and it's like, this does mean nothing, I can't see it still, so.
I generally try to stay away from Google Docs entirely, because they annoy me. Oh, I wonder if you got my T-bid crap.
I'd have to go back, I'm sorry, I just know that I didn't get whatever it was.
No, that's fine, it's just T-bid
I
crap.
think it was minutes, somebody,
Yeah.
Probably mine, yeah.
I was
You
like,
figure out how to amend it.
I think the
I don't
answer
know
is
why
minutes
it's
or, the
protected.
Google Docs, if you wanna use it for your own working thing, that's fine, but I think it doesn't work well from a city standpoint, for making sure we get all the docs out to everybody.
I just,
Yeah.
it's where I
Okay.
keep all the, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Google Docs across the board, but it's good for these types of things when we're working on stuff and multitasking.
Yes.
Okay, so I am copying this over and I will share this with you guys. This is just some of our working notes from the last few meetings. And then, yeah, Cynthia, if you wanna add to it too, we can even add tabs, document tabs, dope. All right,
That.
LUP, use of the owned land, working notes. Okay, so we have the goal. So how we get to that goal is gonna be what we kind of discussed. And one thing that we've talked about is there's probably gonna be multiple proposal types, just based off of scale. So I feel like to determine, again, basically, we're gonna have a flow chart, right?
Right.
Of, you want to use this land, here are the 5 questions that you get asked, or here are the 30 questions you get asked, to determine what your next course is. Is it, just like we have our large events, small events application, what bumps you up into the next category? So, and that's one thing too, with these proposals, should this include the conversation of events? Like, is this use for a day, or are we talking extended use only?
Yeah, that's gonna vary with every youth.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so like, do we feel good about our events? I think we put a lot of work into those, specifically you have, and the single day use. But I also feel like there's been a lot of conversations of not just Pride Park,
No.
but like, okay, what is the best and highest use of Lions Park if someone puts an application in before the fun run?
Right.
Is there a way that we can do long or extended, not extended, but repeat use applications?
Isn't there a
Staple
check mark
use.
on it that
That's on
says,
there, so if it's, there's a deal that they can mark, that this is an annual event. And so
Right.
that way,
Okay.
you know, we know what's coming.
Sure,
Because it
Okay.
may not
Yeah,
fall
we did
exactly
cover that.
on the same
yeah,
day.
Yeah.
right,
Right.
And a lot of times they'll put there's a spot for preferred date, they'll put, we'd like to possibly see it on this date
yep,
Third Saturday.
next year.
and we do kind of put those in temporarily, but it's still on the event owner to get an application. I'm trying to go to what if, the car show, I think we called down and said, hey, you guys,
Forgot.
we know there's a car show coming up, but we still don't have an application from you yet. So we kind of helped encourage them
Yeah.
to do that for those reoccurring events.
Yeah.
Doing,
I mean,
Sherry.
and so again, that's one of the things I think of, these assumed events, like, is that something that we can create almost like a rider for your event application, to where it's like, this is, and it's something that the city can approve, like, for 5 years straight, and then that way they don't have to fill out applications year after year.
No, we want applications year after year.
Okay, but this is part of the
But-
conversation,
Okay,
yeah.
so, yeah, and I blinked, because I heard us talking about, like, adding a structure or changing a primary use, you know, the kind of the public land stuff that, and then I blinked and we were talking about events,
Well, again, we're talking about use of city-owned land, right?
okay?
So again, we're asking the question, is this included in the conversation? Or is this something that
Okay.
is not included in the conversation?
Okay, I remember that part of it, okay, so there we go.
I
Yep.
think the criteria we're trying to go for is, let's take the ice rink, for example.
Yep.
Everybody knows. So the ice rink is
Mm-hmm.
this is more for, we're gonna make a
Permanent.
permanent change to your land.
Okay, got it,
What is it for? The ice rink would fall into that, okay,
okay.
yes. This is gonna go, we can do this, but this is not just the ice club that gets to use it. This
No.
is going to be for a public facility. Other parties at that point can, hey, we wanna use the ice rink for this weekend for this.
Mm-hmm.
Fill out a land use because it's a city amenity. On the other side of this could be low-income housing. Low-income housing is not gonna come with, hey, can we use the low-income housing for,
Yeah.
well, no, you really can't, because we have a lease agreement.
Right.
That they get, this is theirs, who's for
Mm-hmm.
however
Yeah.
many years. So it's all gonna depend on what is going to go on the land,
Yeah,
And that's part of
whether.
So,
the community.
and some of it, I know when we were talking about, some of it is are responsible for scheduling or not for scheduling. So we've got a couple of different things in there. The soccer fields, they have like first dibs on it. But that doesn't mean somebody else couldn't schedule it. Have we had anyone schedule, how would they go about scheduling? I want to schedule the pool on a Saturday family reunion.
Does the city take care of that, or is it pool management?
So it would probably be a combination of both. I mean, the pool manager is going to schedule it, but also let us know. It's Pride Park, the Flower Club, Garden Club. They let us know that they're going to have a schedule. There's
Yeah.
no fees, just let us know. I mean, so,
But if I'm renting the pool, I pay the regular land use stuff, or is that going to the pool?
see, I think they have a section set up for
private party.
private parties that pays to the pool.
And my guess is, when you're going back to the ice rink,
That's what I was,
during the winter, it's probably gonna be like that. It's theirs, and they may schedule it out. But I don't know that I don't know that we,
I think the big difference between the ice rink and the pool is the pool has a full-time staff, full-time crew, and a manager. The ice rink is gonna have a group of volunteers that is gonna keep it running.
I
So-
think that ice rink is gonna be a lot more like the pool when we're done with this than we
So,
realize. I
are
think
we
the
gonna have
maintenance wise.
a city employee running the ice rink?
I think there should be. I
Once
think
it-
there should be a city budget specifically for it.
If we're putting, yeah.
And so at that point, then yeah, we're gonna make the decisions on how it's used
Up until,
with an MOU.
Yep.
So the ice club or whoever's, the hockey, whatever it is, there can be an MOU that, hey, we'll maintain and we'll do this. Are they gonna pay the bills for it? Or what point is the city gonna run it? Like the pool, we're gonna have our own staff, our own crew. And then at that point, that staff and that crew can schedule stuff and the payments can come to the ice rink, just like the pool. If you wanna rent the pool, go talk to the pool manager, figure it out, and he goes to the pool.
And, yeah, so I think this ice rink, let me back up kind of to where Chelsea started the process. So what I picture is gonna happen is somebody's gonna come in, let me throw in another adjacent event, just for comparison. We have a request coming in, they wanna put a gazebo next to the courts over in Field School Park. That's a permanent structure, okay? So my understanding, based on the discussion of this group and full council is, that's a permanent structure, so that's something that's gonna basically require council approval to come in. So what'll happen is somebody will say, here's what we wanna do, blah, blah, blah. I get a staff report from Public Works that says, this is a good idea, this is a bad idea, this is how we're gonna address ongoing maintenance of it, and then ultimately, council is gonna say, yep, go ahead and go, that's a permanent building. If we go to the ice rink and take that same process, somebody comes in and says, here's something we wanna do, I go get a staff report, Mike's gonna come back and he's gonna say, here's my concern, this is gonna cost, I'm guessing this is gonna cost $30,000 a year to maintain. Where's that money coming from? Are we building something new into the budget? How is that? You know, his feedback is this is a lot more like the pool than it is anything else we have, just from a maintenance perspective. Now, that 30 grand I pulled out, but when he tells me this is a full-time maintenance thing, that's something that council's gonna need to consider when they're making that decision. Aside from the people who say, you're taking our grass and turning it into concrete. So I'd just like to look at some of those projects and going back to Chelsea's thing, what are the questions we ask, what does it look like? And that's what I'm doing right now, is kind of like, they're gonna come to council with a presentation, and I'm gonna get a staff report.
So, is it gonna become a public amenity? The gazebo would become a public amenity. The tennis courts are a great example. Day to day, it's first come, first served. But if they say, hey, we wanna have a giant pickleball tournament over the weekend, fill out an application, pay the fees, and then you have exclusive rights to the tennis court for this weekend. And people will just have to understand that if they wanna come play, hey, we have an event through the city. If a gazebo went in, it would fall under the same thing. It's first come, first serve, anybody can use it.
And it's really just a
If
sitting
there's an
gazebo.
exclusive use,
Yeah.
that's the key, is that someone exclusively wants to use an amenity of the city, then that's when the permits come in. Everyday use is just, hey, if there's nobody there, have at it.
But here's the other part of the conversation, best and highest use. So specifically, we wanna put a gazebo in there, where's it gonna go? To go with that is this going to be something, and we've had this conversation, community impact, who does it serve, and who does it go against? How does this affect other use of this park and this space? Rod, you had your hand up for a minute?
Well, that's specifically what I was gonna say. What does it displace?
Yeah.
So the T-ball,
yeah, I was gonna say the T-ball, like
which
how.
I don't know if they even get permission to use it.
Yep.
But T-ball shows up there every year, they have since my daughter was little and she was now 40. So T-ball has been going there for 40 years.
Plus.
Yep.
You're talking about
No.
Field
No.
School
No.
Park.
Field School Park.
Field
Okay.
School Park is where we play.
And so if you put a gazebo in, does that now displace T-ball? Which.
So just because we're on, the answer is no, there's a bench, and the basically want is benches with a lid, is what they want. It's right by, and we've already talked about it, making sure that it can be accessible to way, so people wanting to play, watch their kids play in that playground. So, but again, it's a discussion, right?
Yeah, so the
But when you-
location.
When you look at whatever project, what is it possibly displacing?
Yep,
That people may not even be aware, because they don't have kids
Yep,
involved in those things, so they're not even aware that certain times of the year, it becomes a baseball field.
right.
And I
What-
think
and
that,
if we go back to the observatory, that would have been part of that discussion up there. Well, we walk our dogs, it's open space and blah, 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 and it's being impacted. I don't know if, and maybe council would say, yeah, it's not being displaced, it's okay. It's changing it, but that's, yeah, what's being displaced or impacted.
and that's part of that. Who does it benefit? I mean,
Mhm.
there's gonna be a pro and con to all that.
Yeah.
It benefits these people, but it does not, it hinders this group.
Yeah.
So the answer is no, because we're not gonna benefit you by eliminating T-ball. If that's where we wanna
Right.
put it right here, it's like, well, that's not gonna happen because, yeah, it's gonna benefit these people at the park, but it's a huge, another group that uses it for this. So that's all part of that.
Frisbee hole versus tennis courts. Who's being displaced or who's being impacted?
But that's one that you would look at, okay, can we move this Frisbee hole here? And still accomplish the same thing. So now, might be, we're not really displacing, we're just gonna alter where the Frisbee hole is.
So one thing I just included, so again, we have this section, because I think this is kind of where we're at right now, is community impact. So things that these proposals should include. Community benefit statement. Does it engage or improve an underserved population? Does it hurt or take away or displace, I like that word, so I stole it, thank you, from another population? And then I also included historic use. Have there been previous applications for this space, previous MOUs? Or are there grassroots use? Because that's something that's very common in Red Lodge, is the roots use. And then also a radius of impact. So specifically looking at all of the neighboring parts of the community. So again, thinking of Field School Park, have we talked to the Beartooth Children's Center? Because they can go over and use that space for game time and field days and all of those types of pieces.
And the answer is no. I was just, from a process, can I be politically incorrect for a minute? Can you go
Sure.
back to your second bullet or something about, does this serve an
Does it engage or improve an underserved population?
does that question belong here? And I asked that as a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just I think you're not okay with the language of it, but it's more so that, does this improve something that people is it filling a need for folks that are not being taken? Like, for instance, going back to disc golf, something that without, before the mountain, all of that, it's like, we have these people that like to play this sport, and they are underserved in this community for the fact that they don't have a place to do it, so they want to put that in. That's kind of what that language is. There's a group of people that want to be able to see the stars and don't have a place to put their telescope, that's your underserved. I'm not saying it in a political way.
But to me, that's almost in direct conflict with highest and best use. That's the part that's causing me grief.
Well, just because, all right, housing. We don't have enough housing for all of these people. Just because they're underserved doesn't necessarily mean that they're the smallest. Does that make sense? It's something where there is a hole that is needed to be filled. And that's when we go into, again, speaking of letters of support, and then the community benefit statement, does it engage, or how big of a populace does this serve? Because specifically, again, underserved does not necessarily mean small. Underserved means that there is a need that needs to be filled.
I guess that's my problem with it is that just because it's underserved does not mean that it's a need that needs to be filled.
Correct,
That's-
right.
So, that's,
But-
that's my concern with the way it is. It's like, you're getting bonus points because it's underserved. Doesn't make any sense to have it here.
Well, then it does make sense for me to have it here, because when I think about, oh, do we need another baseball field? Or do we need more
So,
gazebos?
another
Or do
way
we
to
need
put it-
more green space?
And,
Like,
and
Yep.
that's council, that was just,
Yep.
that was the question that came to me.
So I think
that
of-
hit it. It was
if
like,
it's serving something that hasn't been met, to me, that does get bonus points.
Lack of adequate access.
Yeah. So that's, I think.
I don't know, it's kind
Yep.
of going down the line of the whole equality versus equity.
Right. And again, no, it's very much, but
Okay.
again, I don't wanna see, we don't need every park to be a green space if we can have some green spaces, because again, it shows that it has been served. If it's something that hasn't been served, I'm gonna be more likely to listen to it. That's where my brain is.
let's suppose, let me flip this on its head. Let's suppose that there were only 10 people in this town who like to play ice hockey.
Mhm.
We don't have any place they can play ice hockey, therefore you need to rip up an entire park and turn it into an ice rink. If it was only 10 people, the answer is no.
Right, well, and that's the thing, is it only 10 people, or is it, oh, there's these 10 people, but then there's also these 200 people that like to come in from out of town, and then there's also another use that we can have for this space. There's also the summertime, when we can either have a splash pad or a theater. Again, it's identifying an underserved population is just one of the criteria. That's the point that I
It's
don't
not-
want,
yeah, it's not
I
the
don't wanna
determining
hang up on
factor.
the fact that 10 people are getting served now. It's the fact that these people are getting served, but so are these people.
Right, like, because there is.
Or, again, if it's
A
me
lot
and
of-
it's like, well, I really wanted to have a mud wrestling tournament in Lions Park, so I need to turn up all of this. We're gonna do it once a year, and it's gonna be a hit. It's gonna bring in 10,000 people once a year, but that's the only thing we're gonna be able to use it for is this mud wrestling pit, which honestly, I'm kind of into this idea now. But specifically, obviously, that's not gonna pass through council, because we don't want a mud pit for
But-
one day.
But it should, because it's an underserved population.
No, and that's exactly why there's more than one criteria, that's the point.
Okay, but you got where I was going with that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm trying to prove a point.
It's
Can we
another
keep it
bullet
in
point
civil?
to try to be like, are we serving an under,
Yep,
like.
or is this flooded with stuff that we already have? Again, just that's when you think of highest and best use.
Can we rephrase that to say, is this already addressed elsewhere?
Yeah, you're hung up on that word, the underserved.
Yeah,
right?
that's-
Like.
Yeah, let's come up
It
with
makes it
another
sound
word.
like it's a bonus, and to me, it's a disqualifier.
So,
And to me, it's just identifying factor, it's just.
Yeah,
like,
it's just another
keep
identifying-
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is there already adequate access to gazebo? Like, there's a gazebo on the other side, why would we wanna put one right here when there's already?
Yeah. we don't need
benches
dueling
and shade.
gazebos, even though we could have dueling fans, that'd be great. Again, there's always gonna be pros and cons to every single thing that you have.
Okay, back here, sorry,
He's still hung up on the mud wrestling.
I don't count.
That being said, can we start a mud wrestling competition once a year? Like, I think this could bring in a great demographic.
Anyhow, as we digress. Okay, focus.
Focus, okay. So again, specifically looking at those community impacts, those are things that we want included. I'm just gonna go through these notes,
Yeah, I got you.
because again, I feel like we do tend to get sidetracked and we haven't actually made any plans for progress, so, but it's good. I think that these are really crucial conversations to have.
Uh-huh.
One factor might be seasonality.
Ooh, I like that, yep. Seasonality, that's going in.
It's about under radius.
No, radius is more like people impacted within
Okay,
a certain,
okay.
like, space.
Got you.
All right, seasonality and year-round use. I think that's important to, yep,
Yeah.
cool, perfect, thank you. Intended use and operations. So this is where Brian's gonna come in mostly, I think. So a maintenance plan, what is the proposal's maintenance plan? A transition plan for the city. 'Cause again, we just assume that it's city-owned land, we are going to have to take care of this, what does this look like?
The financial burden that it could bring.
Yep, that's going in top of the list right there, 'cause we didn't include that.
The maintenance
I think, and
plan.
there's two sides to that. There's a financial benefit and there's a financial burden.
Mhm.
On the ice skating rink, you want the financial benefit, because it's gonna bring a bunch of people into town, they're gonna spend money.
Not just that, you can start charging. Like the pool.
Financial benefit and burden.
You
We
can
gonna
charge.
charge for the mud wrestling?
Oh, of course.
For
Mud wrestling is not free. You gotta get good mud for that.
How about a pool that we use Jell-O?
Okay.
Woo! Jello wrestling.
Here we go.
This is why our meetings are better than admin and finance, just for the record. This is what we're gonna spend all our resort tax dollars on.
We don't go there during the main council meeting, that's.
So again, financial benefit, financial burden, maintenance plan, transition plan, letters of community support, that goes in everywhere. Then description of use, how long, so that kind of covers your seasonality. We're gonna kind of put that here too. Seasonality.
Is it just seasonal? Okay, yeah.
How long? So again, it could specifically be like, we use it for the winter months, or we use it for even certain times a day. We use it one night a month when the moon's out or not out. Like,
Full moon mud wrestling?
full moon mud wrestling,
Jello wrestling.
Jello wrestling for the full moon. The light will be just beautiful.
In the pool?
What's the purpose? What user groups does it serve? What user groups are going to have say? What user groups are going to have rank? Because that's, again, going to coal miners, we have soccer team, or a soccer group that assumes that all of this is ours, everyone else can bugger off. I almost swore again. Well, I'm only allowed to have one F-bomb during these meetings, and I've already used mine in admin. So, who's it, like, so again, thinking about what is that ranking and priority, and how are you guys gonna get along? So, oh, you're putting it in, cool, I'll let you type, go
I
ahead.
just put users group ranking, just so we have an
Yep.
idea.
Ranking, stakeholders, I think that's because again, they assume that they get that space, but then the high school wants to use it too, and then they get mad that the high school uses it for
For-
javelin.
And for javelin for.
And so then javelin goes down to, softball, and then softball gets mad at it because they're throwing javelins in the sprinkler systems. Like, so how does that work? And
Mhm.
that's the other thing is, restricted use, because it has to preserve this new use. It kind of goes back into,
Restrictions,
yep,
restrictions that may be requested, or.
yep. Restrictions due to use, or to preserve use. Because that also goes into lighting. Okay, we want to use this observatory and we can't have a certain amount of light next to it.
Mhm.
So that's immediately putting a restriction on that.
Well, or it's also impacts to other groups.
Right, and I need lights because I like to do late night disc golf. Like, so having those restrictions identified, that does change the use and the flexibility of use, and it's good to recognize out the gate.
Mhm.
The required changes, including structural, natural improvements, and modifications. That also will have a maintenance plan, and that will need to be something that's considered, but again, do we need to plant trees? Do we need to take out trees? Do we need sprinkler systems? And what kind of infrastructure is that gonna take? Do I want paved trails or dirt
I feel
trails?
like you have SimCity in your head right now.
That's all I do all the time. It's literally like, I love SimCity.
Okay. And then possible, what did you mean for this? You just have possible.
I don't know, I think I started something last time, and, we'll put possible, because we're currently under intended use, possible multi-use.
On the maintenance plan, do you think it's important to identify short-term and long-term, or just maintenance plan altogether?
I think,
Like, what's gonna take to build?
well, and I think that's where,
the depot?
to also incorporate that transition plan.
Yep.
Okay, so just,
So let's talk a little bit more about maintenance plan, just specifically. That could be its own thing. Sorry, my bullets got messed up when I copied and pasted this into Google Docs, because it's the worst.
sorry.
So, maintenance plan, what should that all include, Brian, Hannah? That should have.
Everything.
Okay.
So we have cost,
The future.
we have
And it's gonna
annual
be-
maintenance,
Yeah, the cost, who's,
snow removal,
Well, yeah,
landscaping,
trash.
ooh, trash, yep, trash and refuse, electrical,
Yeah.
plumbing, utilities.
Painting.
Is there a restroom? here?
Yeah. Do we have a bathroom? I think that just goes into, probably not maintenance as much, but we should put
Services.
sanitation and cleaning.
I think the question there would be, is it exclusively for the group's benefit, or is it for the public benefit? When does the city become responsible versus the group?
Right, and that's part of this, is so, and again, we're not necessarily determining whether it is the city's responsibility or the group's yet. We're assuming that it will be the city. Like, that's just the assumption, is because,
at some point,
By
the
default.
volunteer feel good's gonna go away, and then
It's-
it comes up to us. And there are groups that get together to help maintain stuff, but it's,
yep,
you know, but the city, once it becomes a city amenity, at some point, it's ours once it's in.
Right,
I mean, everything that goes into a park, it will be owned by the city. And so, okay, we have this group that's starting this, and they raise the money, we're gonna build it,
mhm,
okay. Who's gonna pay the power bill if there is one? Do you need water? Who's gonna pay for the water if you need it? Who's gonna do the cleaning? Who's gonna do the mowing? And everyone's gonna be different. The gazebo's not gonna have power, not gonna have plumbing, I mean,
it might,
yeah, I guess it could.
right, so utilities.
yeah,
I
so it,
mean, so, we just need to make sure that everything that goes in with maintenance is covered.
Right,
Painting, repainting,
upkeep.
depending.
Vandalism, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
a good point too, vandalism.
Like a field park with the pickleball court, and the increased usage of that park now. Public restrooms, do we have a porta potty there?
yeah. Porta potty goes there every summer
We pay for
Okay.
that.
until the vandalism kicks in.
City does, yeah.
And we say, if you guys can't take care of it,
But does it need to be serviced more often now that that increase is happening? Or is it?
yeah, I don't know what the schedule on it is.
Increase.
I mean, if,
I'm putting increased
it
use
it
for,
could be an increased cost if they have to service it. We're so busy, we need it serviced every week. Or every 2 weeks is fine, or,
actually,
Right, like, does it
And-
need its own trash receptacle, like, now are we looking at a whole nother thing?
Purchasing
And some of that's a desired byproduct. I mean, if
Yeah.
we're causing the usage to go up, yay, that's
that means we're providing something that
getting
the
more
public,
use out of a public resource.
I
Yep.
suspect that the bathroom at the grocery store had increased use during pickleball.
Yes,
But
probably.
then again, they might buy water on the way out the door, so.
yeah,
We're calling it our
Full circle with that one.
So go back.
But it's a different impact.
Yeah.
You look at all the use the parks have, but very few of them have
Yeah.
services like restrooms.
right.
Right,
Well, I mean, that's part of the reason looking at radius of use too. So again, kind of going back to that, when I think of a radius, I literally think of like a circle that you
So-
draw around that space, like who will be the people that will see increased traffic?
right.
Who might get asked to use their bathrooms, who might hear noises that they aren't necessarily used to, might have to deal with the construction, might lose parking in front of their house during certain times of days, like, so now, that's impacting this increased radius, it's not just this pinpoint.
Right, like parking for the ice rinks now, and people,
Yep,
you know, across in those neighborhoods, and,
yep, and then again, we already had issues with speeding and traffic through that street because of me.
So that's under community impact again,
Yeah.
environmental impact, the noise and the parking and.
Well, not just that, but like, if they wanted to put a roof on it, that's your view shed.
mhm,
And again, I know, like, personally, to me, I think that there's,
Not practical.
sorry, this is a really good use for our community and brings in this big benefit, but I can also see where they'd be upset.
Mhm.
Can I make a formal request to this committee?
Only on paper. Just kidding.
No, not in a
Um,
Google Doc.
I think this is all good conversation, but I would like to, at the next meeting, and you guys can shoot stuff back around, via email and whatnot, but given the number of projects that we have that are in flow already, if you can kind of have a rough draft of what, because I need some guidance.
Yeah, we're.
I'm getting, like, you've heard me give my, somebody comes in, so we want to put it in, it's like, you guys are gonna have to make a proposal, we're gonna staff input, council's gonna have their, if you guys can outline what that process is that I'm supposed to be following, knowing that it's a draft and it's gonna change and tweak, I think that would, I'd like to get something like that at the front end, loaded into this thing, just because
All right,
it's happening every day.
so we need to take all of this.
And actually,
I got-
AI,
I got you.
ChatGPT it. Create with this formatting, this font. Okay, so essentially we have the things that we want to ask.
Mhm.
We don't have the way that we actually evaluate that, like, we don't have a weighted scale, but that's okay. I think that this at least gives the right questions to be asked and hopefully good answers. While if we need a draft, which I'm thinking that we might be able to work on a draft at our next meeting, have a rough, and then we can kind
Put
of
it in.
tweak.
So your answer is we'll have it in two meetings from now?
Yeah,
Okay,
And
I'll
we
take
did
that.
change, like, the time to this being Monday,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I've got that to mention tonight, that
Yep.
next, on
School hours,
regular hours next week.
And I need to check my schedule,
so just the Monday before the meeting, so. or
not
Tuesday.
this
Oh, okay.
month, not September, but I think in October I might be missing a meeting. And I'm not mad at it.
You're fine.
I'm going camping.
Yay.
I almost did a nonverbal profanity, sorry, y'all. I know, I'm working on it, man.
I too need to start.
I know, you're going back into school mode. So, okay, we'll have rough draft. With that rough draft, essentially, it's going to be a proposal submission. It's not gonna be it's not gonna be criteria of how we weight that, but it's gonna be the information that we want for a
An
proposal.
outline, just like the outline of a process.
Correct.
Boom, 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 got it.
And with the special events you fill out now, would that be a good template?
I would agree, yeah. On a whole, like, I'm not too worried about making a template of questions. That's pretty easy. More so, it's going to be the weighted scale and also who all of these things get submitted to and at what level of detail do we need this. So that's the other piece that I worry about, because you can put together all the questions you want and they're gonna come back with answers. So like, trash plan, yes, those are gonna be the answers that we get, and those are not the answers that we want.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And, like, that's my concern, is
Explain.
explaining, having a more in-depth actual response. And again, that's gonna be something that we take into account, 'cause, like, for instance, T-bid, this is what brings it to mind for me, is on our T-bid board, we have grant applications. And our grant applications, sometimes we receive some very in-depth, thorough, phenomenal grant applications for $250, and I'm just like, good for you. We get other ones where it's literally just,
Hey.
like,
Help me out, man.
yeah, like, oh,
Yeah.
we want $2,500 for marketing. Okay, where are you using the marketing? Radio. Okay, what radio station, what time slots? That's the information I want to make sure it's hitting the targeted audience that we require for this fund. So that's where my concern lies, is providing either good examples or just strong definitions after each question of this is what is required of this question.
Please explain in detail.
Yeah, but I wanna go more than just saying in detail, these are requirements for this question.
Well,
Requirements to the requirements,
Follow the
essentially.
Ws, right? Like, who's taking care of it, when,
Yep.
how much? Yeah.
Does it require, do we need bids? Do we need drawings? Do we need schematics? Like, that kind of stuff.
Measurements, go out
Yep.
there.
Go out there and measure it, because we're not doing it. Like, we don't got time. Brian's got more important things than measuring your pickleball court. But I want full draw-ups of this to get
I need
accepted.
a full
And that's
circumference
where-
of your gazebo.
When this is done, just like some of the other ones, if there's a question we want to ask, put it on.
Yep,
The worst thing is like, well, you know, if you would've gone here and read this, you would've understood that we need to know this. It's like, no, don't make them search.
yep,
This
Right
is
here.
what
It's on
we
it.
want. If it's a 10-page application, it's a 10-page application, but you're gonna have to go through, do your time, fill
Mark
this out.
anyone.
yep.
Well, it also-
It
it also
stops
will-
the guesswork a lot of times.
Mhm.
And the importance of the, you know, the usage, like, oh man, this is 20 pages, it's not that important, I don't need to use it.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of feel like that's also. a
Again,
process
it
in
vets,
itself.
exactly. This should be a vetting process, because this is bigger than just like, man, can I borrow this? It is, again, we're building a city amenity.
Yep.
This is a bigger goal than just,
Just a use for a day or a use
Yeah.
for the gathering or whatever. We're creating something that the entire public's gonna have access to.
Yep.
Again, you go on the other end, low-income housing, then there's, you know,
Mud pit.
what kind of lease agreements
mud
are we
pit,
gonna
man.
have?
God, that'd be a really easy one to maintain, though it will take a lot of water. But if we can build it by a creek, no. Okay, so that will be our goal for the next meeting. We'll put this in more of a draft form. I can do that, I'll commit to that.
Okay.
Unless you want to AI it first and then,
I can easily AI this very quickly and then send it to you guys and then make the edits
okay,
on what works verbiage-wise, what doesn't,
You're
what's
welcome to send
included.
it to me.
Yes.
I can-
and Brian, I added you to this working notes, so you can add to it. Again, I fully want this to be a collaborative.
Yeah.
So, one thing that we did talk about too is terms and conditions. That I don't think we'll have in place yet, but something to think about. One thing that, because one of our concerns, right, is you build this thing and now you leave this thing and you didn't, like, follow through with your maintenance plan that you said you were gonna do, right?
Mhm.
So one thing that came up, bonds, and substantial bonds, depending on the size and scale. Something to where now we do have a financial contingency for if someone doesn't follow through after their 5 years.
Yeah, just put consequences and bonds.
Yep, you pay, we want to prove you need to financially, like, pay up and pony up just to start this, and then make sure that we can maintain this for the next 5 years if you bail, or 10 years.
Something like the ice rink may well
Exactly.
be.
A bond makes a lot of sense to me, to where it is a refundable thing, but it holds people accountable, literally accountable.
We do that in our development agreements already.
Exactly, so development agreements, I mean, we do it for short-term rentals, we do it for all of our
When you say development
registration.
agreement, my brain's not catching up.
So, development agreements, before they can get occupancy, we see where they're at. Like,
You're talking about building department, just kind of in general stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
All right, I'm caught up now.
you want, I'll give you occupancy, but you're gonna do a bond for the grass, the trees, and the sprinkler system, so if you leave, we can finish this project. There's always that bond. At some point, I try to not do the whole project, because then, the entire cost. So a lot of times we pick a point that, okay, if you want this, you're gonna give us some sort of a surety that either you'll finish it or we will.
Yep, and we have the means to
And we're
do
gonna
so,
use
we're
your
not
money
put
to do
out.
it.
Yeah, there's gonna be a consequence, we have to have something
Yeah.
to protect.
Mhm.
And I think, that, you know, those bonds could fluctuate just based off scale of project. Like, again, a $100 bond for the ice skating rink ain't gonna cut it, but also a $10,000 bond for a new tree, too much.
We're
What kind of-
fast, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, good,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I'm so sorry. I was thinking like on the application part, like if we put some kind of disclaimer on the top or whatever, like applications will not be considered unless full detail is
Yeah.
provided or whatever.
oh, definitely, yeah.
Something like that. And then the timeframe of the, middle, like how many days in advance, 45, 60 days? And then how much time do we have to review once it's submitted and then the process before council or whatever.
I don't think I wanna put a time frame on
We
this
don't
yet,
want any time.
Not yet,
Okay,
anyway.
I'm just thinking about
cause
it.
I think for some of these, it's gonna take
A year or
years.
two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, with, yeah, planting a tree, not so much, but I.
Yeah, and again, this is also part of talking about the scale of it. So the reason I wanted to talk about scale and the magnitude and how this flow chart works, would it make more sense to have a flow chart by next week?
That's, because if that tells me process about here's what we want you to do until we tell you what to do, that would be fine.
Okay. Okay, because that's the thing is, I see the proposal applications being different based off scale and use. Are you building a structure, are you planting a tree? Like, are you leasing this? Is this gonna be yours in perpetuity? Are you making money off of this? Is this going to be something that you use once a year? Like, each thing is different, because again, if it's a workforce housing and we're giving you the land to build apartments, that's gonna look very different than an ice skating rink, and the application process should and such. Like, there's gonna be main criteria that's gonna be consistent throughout, but then there's going to be a break off at some point.
Yeah, category, something like that.
Like apartments, it would be, how you would show is, here's the lease, here's how much you're gonna give the city a year
Yep.
to use this plan, which now I can show everybody else that, hey, we are making this much a year off this land over this period for
Yep.
them to use it. So, I mean, then that's the benefit, so that would be one benefit to everybody that, you know, we're getting income.
Yep, exactly. And so, but then also determining what's appropriate income. How do you figure out how much you charge for that lease?
Not
Like,
$1 a year.
no.
Yeah,
But also not $100 a year. Like, what is our marketable land value and when does that go up? Like, again, thinking about, is this based off tax assessments? Is this, so, it's deeper. It's gotta be deeper.
We have a family center that's on leased land, so,
Family center.
what it says on
The bowling alley.
Oh, yeah, no, I just had an employee party there last night. It
I was
lovely.
thinking the senior space, but I was like, that's city, what?
no, bowling alley is city property.
Yeah.
So again, thinking about those types of things, and it's like, best and highest use. The, bowling alley that has 2 lanes down constantly, like, don't get me wrong, I love the bowling alley.
It's never gonna be a bar.
Yeah, or gambling, right?
And again, I would much prefer to see an arcade. I think this town could crush with an arcade.
What? We used to have an arcade. We used to have oh my gosh, what was it? Like, it was where the bond, or,
No, next night.
no, we had it was at Scoop, but before it was at
Quick
Scoop,
public
it was a huge thing, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Quick public comment.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, land use and planning is probably the appropriate place for me to express my concerns about the urban renewal.
Oh, sure.
That what I saw proposed was a brand-new Main Street on each side of Broadway, or 212, as we call it, that made me very nervous as a downtown merchant and property owner. That I don't have a problem developing and improving the north entrance to the community,
Mm-hmm.
but not at the expense of the historic business district.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind, that when this committee comes with all the razzle and dazzle of the unintended consequences, I've used this word a lot today,
I love that. It's one of my favorites.
but what happens when you move X to Y, what happens to X?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what happens to the downtown? Because, you know, they were all excited about planting trees and the greenscape, and we tried that. We proposed that downtown many years ago about adding trees and making it more pedestrian friendly and inviting, and it got a big pushback
Mm-hmm.
from a loud minority of individuals, but it killed the whole project.
Yeah, that's usually how that works.
So
Well, like
just think about the consequences to what you have when you build something new. That's my only concern. It's not that we shouldn't have something new, but what is its impact? Because it's a very challenging business world right now, and I don't want to see us go back to the early 80s when I moved here and half the Main Street, it's hard to envision it now,
Well, it was.
but half of Main Street was empty.
And honestly, it wasn't even that long ago. When I moved here, half of Main Street was empty. And
Well,
that
I
was only
remember
about
when-
10,
You know,
15 years
the
ago.
real move started in '96. A lot of money came into downtown. It started to move into downtown and buildings started getting fixed up.
Yep.
And it made it a place that people wanted to be. And so we want to protect what we've built over those years
Sure.
while still improving life in Red Lodge
Mhm.
and improving how it looks coming in from the north end. But we don't want to move our business district north. We
No.
want to preserve our business district while
Yeah.
enhancing things that are available to the community.
Agreed.
But you also have to leave it open for other businesses that can't move
Right.
into this area.
Also
I mean,
agreed.
this area is tied to what it is.
Yeah,
We're
Well,
not gonna do big expansions, we're not gonna do big buildings. So that's,
right.
we need to,
It's
That's
just
my whole point.
keeping that, in '96, when the big move started, when things really started changing, there was a real population that lived here at that time.
Mhm.
There was a real concern to lose the integrity of downtown. If not so, we would be, the new grocery store would be where Fire Hall's at. Because we had to buy, sell to buy that. And the Fire Hall was still
Here.
next door here.
Here.
And so we listened to the people and we kept, it actually made it harder for us to do business by keeping it downtown or adjacent to downtown and limited our future. But we listened to the people, that's why the post office is downtown, the grocery store is downtown, the hardware store is downtown, because that's where the people, they wanted to maintain the business community where it's at, and not see it drift north and see downtown
Fox.
become a ghost town.
Or more so, just a tourism trap.
Well,
And that's what I think of now. Just-
Well, that was when, I remember when Old Town Square was first put in, and that was '90s, late '80s, and there was a shift of how, when all the, because each little vendor in there was,
The issue there for them is they're too far away from the action. So it's a challenge for those businesses, and you've seen how
yeah,
it's
now,
shifted,
yeah.
what
now.
those businesses are down there now versus what they were.
Mm-hmm.
And so you gotta look at how this is gonna change us from a 5-block business district, with 3 of the blocks being the center, to a 2-mile business district, where it starts, at 19th?
Mhm.
Kind of when you're coming into downtown, it's mostly homes,
Mhm.
but then as you get into the center of downtown, now that this is gonna push all the way out past the roundabout, your whole downtown is gonna, it's gonna be that big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, which it has to be maintained as a single downtown, not 2.
Correct.
There has to be some flow and continuity
Mhm.
that maintains
Walkability.
Agreed.
and the walkability.
100% agreed.
It just made me really nervous. It's like, ooh,
I want to see I haven't gotten to see the
I-
drawing yet.
I want to see it.
they have some 5-second, like drive-throughs.
Neat.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
let's just burn it all down and make a park. Done.
More green space.
More green space, that's what we want,
You know,
right?
the concentration really is on housing.
correct.
2 weeks in
But
a
it's
row, I've
also-
mentioned just burning it
it's
down.
multi-use with commercial on
The tri-city.
the main floor,
Yeah.
And then,
and housing up to 5 stories.
so,
which can't go 5 stories.
Big Sky,
Well, it's proposed, though.
Or,
They may be coming to the planning board to say, hey,
I can tell you from the meeting, that wasn't the meeting that got recorded, that they were all universally against the
okay.
high-density
I
stuff.
looked for that follow-up meeting, but
And I thought we had it recorded, and apparently we failed to.
Adjourning?
no, look what I,
Oh, I
Well,
just
that too.
exited
that's
out.
just my concern that we
Sorry.
maintain the health.
I was adjourning my brain adjourned.
it's a fine line.
okay,
Official.
Allowing
I say
growth
official adjourned.
to-
Yeah.
officially adjourned.